ERi-TV news broadcast crew and I, Dalit Sahaya, are now ready for your daily news briefing at 10:30 local time. But first, let us catch up with the major headlines. Southern Red Sea region conducted activity assessment meeting. Training on culture and health provided to teachers in Afabet. Maduro responds to Trump's threats. And Israel approves $34.7 billion on God's deal with Egypt. Proceeding with our reports. The Southern Red Sea Region Administration conducted an activity assessment meeting for 2025 and discussed program for 2026 on 15th and 16th December in the port city of Asab. Ambassador Mohammed Said Mantai, governor of the region, reported that in 2025 commendable activities were carried out in the education sectors, particularly in the expansion of preschool education, blindness control, enhancement of fishery and agricultural production, addressing classrooms shortage, as well as mitigating potable water shortage in the port city of Asab. Ambassador Mohammed Said further stated that in collaboration with the public and partners, encouraging activities were undertaken in supporting families of martyrs and disadvantaged citizens, constructing micro dams and underground reservoirs, as well as renovating roads. He also called for strengthened public participation in development programs, particularly in water and soil conservation. The participants, for their part, conducted an extensive discussion on the reports presented, focusing on strengths and challenges encountered and forward constructive ideas. Training focusing on culture and health was provided to 122 teachers in Afabet subzone. The participation of the training were teachers from the subzones of Afabet, Nafa, Karora, and Adobha. The training focused on oral and documentation songs and lyrics, traditional and modern music, drama, as well as communicable diseases and measures for their prevention, addiction and their consequences, and the health impacts of alcohol consumption. Mr. Mohammed Abdullah, head of the culture and sports in the Northern Red Sea region, called on participants to apply the knowledge they gained from the training on their daily lives and to pass it on their students and wider community. In the same vein, training was provided to parents and foster families of citizens with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the Amhara subzone of the Southern Red Sea from 18th and 12th December. The program was organized by Ministry of Health branch in the subzone and the National Association of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities in the Southern region. At the event, Mr. Desala Hagos, chairman of the association, gave an extensive briefing on the proper care of the treatment of citizens with disabilities. Dr. Yusuf Yamane, medical director of the Amhara Hospital, also provided a briefing on the cause and health consequences of hepatitis and HIV/AIDS and called on refraining from alcohol consumption and customary medications, indicating that the school providing educational service to citizens with intellectual and developmental disabilities is in a good condition. And Mr. Yamana Abera, administrator of the subzone, called on the parents to send their children with disabilities to school. Charge d'Affaires at the Eritrean Embassy in the United States, Mr. Burhane Gabrihuet, conducted a seminar for nationals residing in Washington, D.C. and its environs on 14th December, focusing on the objective situation in the homeland and the regional development. At the seminar, in which around 500 nationals took part, Mr. Burhane said that at a time when the world is focusing on complicated and challenging development, Eritrea is standing firm on its principled stance and exerting strong efforts to realizing regional peace and stability. Mr. Burhane went on to say that Eritrea, which is known for its internal peace and unity, is working in collaboration with the countries that share similar position, realizing a secure neighborhood free from consequences of external interferences. He also called on the national and diligently worked for the success of the national resilience and development, as well as strength their participation in the effort to safeguard national interests and establish comprehensive and friendly relations. At the event, Dr. Gideon Abai, chairman of the National Council of Eritrean Americans, gave a briefing on the plan and program for 2026. In the same vein, Mr. Salah Abdullah charged the affairs at the Eritrean Embassy in the United Kingdom and Ireland, and Mr. Tolde Johannes, head of the Public Community Affairs, conducted a seminar for nationals in Leeds and its environs on 7th December. Explaining the role and contribution of diaspora nationals over the past years, Mr. Saleh underscored the significance of the strengthening organizational capacity in line with the current stage for the national strength and challenge, indicating that preserving Eritrean identity, enhancing unity, and strengthening national institutions are among the main national strategic objectives. Mr. Tolde Johannes gave a briefing on the political and diplomatic achievements that have been registered. The participants on their part expressed their conviction to strengthen participation and contribution in the national affairs. In a related news, Nationals Committee in the United Kingdom organized a discussion forum for festivals and their successful implementation for heads in the national organization. At the occasion, Mr. Suleiman Hassan, head of the Consular Affairs, gave a briefing on the consular services being provided to nationals. Likewise, about 80 heads of PFDJ, the National Union of Eritrean Women, YPFDJ, Eritrean communities, as well as the media and diplomatic committees from 15 Italian cities, organized a discussion forum. Mr. Gamay Habta Kael, head of the Public and Community Affairs at the Eritrean Embassy, said that the objective of the meeting was to review the implementation of the program in 2025 and conduct extensive discussion for better outcomes. Mr. Feshatian Petros, Eritrea's ambassador to Italy, for his part gave a detailed briefing on the objective situation in the homeland, as well as the regional and global developments. Straight ahead is our international news after a short break. Welcome back. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has accused the U.S. of seeking and overthrow his government and the truth in his country into a colony, rejecting Washington's recent threats and oil blockade and diplomacy barbarism. Speaking in a televised address on Wednesday, Maduro said the U.S. was attempting to impose a puppet government in Caracas that would not last even 47 hours. He described the pressure campaign launched by U.S. President Donald Trump as a warmongering and aimed at seizing Venezuela's natural wealth. Maduro's remark follows Trump's announcement in blockade a sanctioned oil tanker carrying Venezuelan crude. Trump has branded the government Caracas as a foreign terrorist organization and accused of its stealing U.S. oil and other assets. The Venezuelan leaders insist that the country's oil trade and exports would continue, urging that international law in the UN Charter protection, freedom of navigation and commerce. This is not the first time corsair or piracy, Maduro said. Maduro also warned the U.S. escalation represented what he called diplomacy of barbarism, contrasting with the recent and international law and peace and coexistence. Our last report. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Wednesday that it had approved a gas deal worth $34.7 billion, under which Israel will supply natural gas to Egypt. Under the deal, U.S. energy company Chevron, along with Israeli partners, will supply Egypt with gas. Calling the largest gas deal in Israeli history, Netanyahu said about 58 billion shekels from the deal will flow into the state treasury. In a broadcast statement, he said he was hopeful that the deal will strengthen Israeli status as a regional energy power and contribute to stability in our region. Energy Minister El Cajon, speaking alongside with Netanyahu, described the approval of the agreement as a historic moment for Israel, both diplomatically and economically. Cajon said the approval followed several months of intensive negotiation, and the gas companies are expected to invest more than 16 billion shekels in gas infrastructure under the deal. Israel become the natural gas producer after discovery of major offshore fields in the eastern Mediterranean over the past decade, including the Tamar and Levatian fields, which has transformed the country from the energy importer into the regional exporter. Dear viewers, we've come to the end of tonight's news. Let's have a quick recap of the headlines. Southern Rescue Region conducted activity assessment meeting. Training on culture and health provided to teachers in Afabet. Maduro responds to Trump's threats. And Israel approves $34.7 billion Gaza deal with Egypt. And that wraps up our stories for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.